everyone. I want to thank you for joining Milestone's webinar today, Can Siri Talk to Your Website? Speaking for the panel, we are very excited to get started today. However, a few quick things before starting and while waiting for the last-minute attendees. We have muted everyone to avoid audio disturbance. If you have any questions as we go through the presentation today, please feel free to ask them using the GoToWebinar chat box on the right screen, and we will address those questions at the end of the webinar. If time is running tight, we will answer the questions in our blog. This webinar is being recorded, and the video will be shared on our blog tomorrow. So without further delay, let's see who is on the call today. I am Sarah Linton from our Milestone Chicago office, and I am the moderator for the webinar. Today, I have two others from the Chicago office with me on the line from the onboarding team. Ryan and Kyle are the ones implementing the latest bells and whistles on our website. So if you are having your website revamped or a new client to Milestone, they will likely be the ones working on it. Ryan Kattmeyer, he's a Milestone's account strategist. Ryan has over 6 years of digital marketing experience, 2 dedicated to the hospitality industry. As stated, he oversees the website production process in full and enjoys taking on a project from contract stage to the go-live stage, seeing the full circle. And then we have Kyle Vandray. Kyle's been a staple on the Milestone team long before joining the onboarding team, but he has been on the onboarding team for about 1.5 years. The most recent projects of Kyle's include a newer vertical for Milestone, which is golf courses. So if Kyle was your onboarding or your local AM, be sure to reach out to him after the webinar. So let's see a little bit more about Milestone. Milestone is a leading provider of digital marketing software and services. We focus on driving revenue to our clients across the digital ecosystem, be it paid, search, or social. So we offer a holistic approach to digital marketing that has shown exceptional results. We've been doing this for about 2 decades so far, and we have offices across the country supporting and leveraging the latest trends, so we're never too far away from you and your digital needs. We have about 2,000 clients. It's a good mix of hotels from chains, independents, to management companies, to even restaurants and retail outlets, and of course, the golf courses. Our hotel mix is about 50-50 when it comes to upscale and select service hotels, and about the same mix for branded versus independent. Some of the top customers include Hyatt, Wyndham, SBE, and Four Seasons, and I'm glad to see a good representation on the call today. So let's see what will be discussed on the webinar. Today's agenda: mobile and the new customer journey, search and how it has evolved since the beginning, what the new digital landscape means for you, including some actionable strategies for your business, and then the 4 key takeaways. And always, we do end with questions from the audience, so definitely please type in your questions during the presentation, and we'll cover those at the end. So, Ryan, take it away.
All right, thanks so much, Sarah. The first thing I'll be discussing today is mobile and the new user journey. Customers today are living online, and a large reason as to why is the increased use in mobile devices. In 2015, Google announced that mobile searches have actually surpassed that of desktop for the first time. Therefore, it's becoming more and more important to evolve and adapt to the needs of consumers. So what we'll be taking a look at are the trends in search and mobile and how they can impact your business. So along with the evolution of mobile devices, mobile has also become an evolution of mobile devices. And what these are called are intelligent assistants such as Google Assistant, Siri, which is on Apple products, and a newer one, Amazon Echo. These devices are voice activated and field voice queries, and they actually provide answers and actionable items, not just links. They gather information from both your websites through what's called schema tags, which basically tells a search engine exactly what the information on your website is. So for example, instead of your address just appearing as numbers and letters, it actually tags that as the property's address. They also aggregate data from both maps and location databases. So this has actually created a pretty big shift in the ways in which consumers behave on the web. As you can see here, 65% of smartphone visitors continue their search or consumer experience on a PC at a later time. 2% of first-time visitors are actually completing a purchase, and 50% of mobile visitors come to a store within 1 day. So what that's telling us is, that the multi-device consumer journey is now a way of life. So you need to be prepared to be seen by a consumer anywhere, at any time, on any device. So what we've kind of found is that users are going to their mobile devices to solve a pain point for them. And these pain points can basically be put into 4 buckets, or what we call micro moments, each of which play a pretty critical role in the consumer journey. So the first one is I want to know moments, where a consumer is seeking answers. Does Dave in Chicago have a hotel shuttle, for example? The next is I want to go moments. They're looking for an address or location of a business. Want to do moments is when they're looking for things to do near them, places to eat, family-friendly attractions, etc. And lastly, I want to buy moments. So they're looking to make a purchase, even if the final purchase may not be made on their mobile device at that moment. So along with how there's been a shift in consumer behavior, there's also been a shift in how search engines are behaving. Therefore, it's even more important to do what's best for consumers because your site will be rewarded for it. Now you're probably asking, well, how does that happen? So what we found is that voice is the future of search, and it's already here. As you can see here, 20% of Google searches are now from voice. So, I'll let you kind of allow yourself to do some of the math. We all know the extent to which consumers are using Google, and 1 of 5 of those Google searches are coming from voice. Along with that, Apple Siri products are fielding 1 billion requests per week. So businesses now need to recognize that this is quickly becoming the way users are seeking out information and to adapt to it. These devices, as stated earlier, are also providing direct answers and actions as opposed to just links, which is what your site needs to be doing as well to follow suit. So the use of intelligent assistants in search has also driven search engines to go from being keyword-based to answer-based. Through updates like Panda and Penguin, search engines began penalizing sites with either duplicate content or keyword stuffing, and are now rewarding sites that have more conversational content and provide direct answers through that schema markup, which I mentioned earlier. So they're able to then also, answer questions like, what is Turf Valley Resort's phone number? Also, a big update that's come out recently from Google is that they've announced that they'll now be indexing mobile pages before those of desktop. Along with that, another key component in the mobile journey is speed. Amazon recently found that an extra 100 milliseconds will lead to a 1% loss in sales. While 100 milliseconds might seem like a pretty undefinable amount of time, I'll allow you to do the math and determine what that could possibly mean for your business. Also, 40% of users will leave a site if it takes longer than 3 seconds to load. So what this is telling us is that users are not going to wait patiently for your site to load. It's got to be up to their standards. So what this ultimately means for Milestone is that we found what we're referring to as sort of a recipe for success, which includes 5 factors. The first is page speed. Similar to what I explained on the last slide, faster site means more conversions and higher search rankings, as well as just a better user experience on your website. Image search, in the hospitality industry, users definitely want to see what your lodging or amenities look like. So I encourage you all to do an image search of your property and see what consumers might be finding there. The next is schema tags or markups. And as I explained earlier, this tells a search engine exactly what the information on your website is and tells search engines how to answer these questions through these voice queries. Excuse me. The next is fresh content. So 50% of consumers are influenced by fresh content as well as being able to get the information they are seeking on your website. And lastly here is faster mobile sites. Technologies like AMP or accelerated mobile pages are providing up to a 3,100% faster mobile experience. So all of these are things to keep in mind when keeping up with consumer and search trends today.
Perfect. Thanks, Ryan. And that does bring us to our first poll question of the day, and actually our only poll question of the day. So let's go ahead and get started. Do you have a separate mobile and desktop website? So definitely go ahead and fill out your questions, or sorry, your answers, then we'll review before starting with Kyle. Looks like most people are just about closing up. so the answer is no, overwhelmingly. So that is awesome to hear, assuming that you have a responsive site, which means it registers automatically for which device it is. And that's really good for the mobile indexing first that Google just announced. So congrats to you all if you have a responsive site and not separate. Okay, so let's start, Kyle.
Great, thank you, Sarah. So now that we've discovered the new user journey on mobile devices and how search is evolving, let's figure out what this means for you as a business owner. First is that AMP is becoming the new face of mobile. So what exactly is AMP? AMP stands for Accelerated Mobile Pages, and it's a framework created by Google to deliver faster web pages for a website. Google actually started this project to improve user experience using Google Search, and it actually rewards websites for making use of the AMP coding. You can tell when a website is AMP compatible when you see that little lightning bolt next to the listing on the search engine results page. So how can you as a business owner benefit from AMP? Well, there are a couple ways. Speed is an important factor in search engine ranking, and using an AMP page has a potential to give you more favorable placement in the search engine results page. Also, the instant download time means that you'll lose almost no potential customer to slow page loads. For example, if a page is taking over 5 or 6 seconds to load on a mobile platform, a lot of users will just drop off and never visit the website. AMP pages eliminate this problem. I highly recommend you look at some web pages that are built on AMP to experience it firsthand. News websites were actually the first ones to embrace Google's AMP format, so if you search for news in an area, you're bound to see some AMP formatted pages. Milestone has also launched an AMP-compatible website for our client Millwood Inn & Suites. So if you want to check that out, you can see their website is AMP-compatible. Next is to think answers and not just links. Search queries are becoming more verbal, and given how much users are looking for answers, you should be thinking likewise. Consumers are using their mobile device to transcribe their searches into Google, and Google is actually pulling information from your website to give them the answers directly on the search engine results page. Users love to have this information available directly on the search page instead of just links to pages that may have the information available. Google will provide the answer they think is the most relevant, so be sure your website is providing the information correctly through structured data, also known as schema. As Ryan mentioned earlier, it's really important to structure this data on your website into a format that search engines can understand. Schemas accomplish this task. You can tag things like your business's phone number, address, name, among many other things to help you answer these search queries. The third way this impacts you as a business is to reconsider what actually impacts your ranking in search engines. There are a lot of factors that go into this equation, and if your answers will be provided, but they can be broken down into these 4 categories. The first is social. Having many reviews on channels like Google+ and Facebook, as well as good social signals like followers on Twitter or Instagram, will be very beneficial to you. Google realizes that you have a lot of online social engagement and will reward you for this. The next one we have is site technology. Page load time is a really important factor when it comes to ranking. Google only wants to make sure users have the best experience possible when visiting a web page, and fast page speeds are part of this equation. I recommend to take advantage of the new AMP platform to accomplish this. As I mentioned earlier, integrating schema on your website will help search engines understand the content on your website better. Also, well-optimized meta tags will help you have an attractive listing on the search engine results page. On and off-page content is crucial to having good web presence. You have to make sure your on-page content is focused and gets its point across. Avoid stuffing keywords into your body content. Make sure it's natural and helps users accomplish their goals when they get to your website. When it comes to off-page content, make sure your business is consistently listed across the web. Having a consistent UNAP, so UNAP actually stands for URL, name, address, and phone number, will help search engines understand that that listing is for your business and give you the benefit. So that brings us to backlinks, which is still the most important factor in website ranking. Having local and industry-specific links to your website sends signals to search engines that say your website has high authority. A large number of high-quality backlinks to your website will have a huge impact on your website's ranking. The fourth way this affects you as a business owner is to start moving beyond the browser. So search engines are only half the battle. Your information lives in hundreds of other places. An important place your information may live is on social networks. In the United States, approximately 178 million people use social networks, and that's huge. Not having social presence will make you less accessible to these people. It's also very important to note that 87% of mobile time is spent in apps, not in just like the web browser on your phone. Having a presence in social networks will mean you have a presence in these apps when a user is on their mobile device. Your off-page presence in map databases is important for users to find the information about your business. Google Maps itself has about 95 million individual users per month, while Apple just came out with this statistic. They have 5 billion requests per week on their Apple Maps platform. Make sure you have up-to-date information here so users can find your business easily. So if you get nothing else out of this webinar, what are your 4 key takeaways you need to stay ahead of this new mobile intelligent world? First is to be sure you control the answers. It's not only about having a good website, but making sure that your information is presented on the search engine results page correctly. Having content on your website that provides answers equals high rankings for your website, which leads you to controlling these answers. So what exactly does it mean to have the right content? It means focusing your content on what visitors want and structuring it using schema. The second takeaway is to be everywhere. Having a website just isn't enough nowadays. Make sure you have a good presence on social media, mapping engines like Google Maps and Apple Maps, data feeds, your local CVB websites, vertical websites like TripAdvisor, and the hundreds of other places you can be listed on the web. Third is to think mobile. But what does it mean to think mobile? It means to give a customer what they want in the content. Less is really more on mobile sites since your on-page real estate is restricted. Next, make sure your content is focused on a customer's micro moments before making a transaction. In the no stage, customers are looking for information. In the go stage, users might be looking for directions. The do stage is where customers are figuring out what there is to do in the area. And the buy stage, users are looking to purchase your product or convert. Make sure your website answers or accomplishes these 4 tasks. Last but not least is to always consider page speed when dealing with a mobile site. AMP pages or AMP format is the best way to accomplish this. The fourth and last key takeaway is to deliver a pleasant experience across any device. Make sure it adapts for whatever device may be viewing the website, whether it's a large desktop, a small laptop, a tablet smartphone, or a tablet. You want to consider the hierarchy of elements for each device and design accordingly. Desktop and tablets, those are more for exploring, so you can feature much more content on these devices. Mobile is more for taking action and looking for delivering quick, important information, such as your business's phone number, featuring the call to action, provide a quick menu, make sure your business address is available. For both mobile and tablet, take advantage of gesture interfacing to help users explore the content of your site without having to click with their finger. For example, if you have a photo gallery on your website, make sure the user can swipe through with their finger instead of tapping a little arrow. These engagement features are very important for having a good mobile experience. In addition to that, making sure that your call to actions are easily clickable. You know, sometimes these things are too small and you might press a different button, and that can get frustrating for users. So making sure that your call to actions are clickable with the point of the finger is very important.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you, Kyle and Ryan. No fat thumbing I've learned today. And thank you for everyone who joined the call today and the webinar. Please send us your questions in the chat box in regards to anything we cover today or any other additional questions while you've got 2 experts on the line. As always, please follow us on our social channels for the latest industry trends, our webinar recap, and that reminds us all that this recording will be on our blog tomorrow. While filling the time up for the questions, I do want to highlight we have a few year-end specials regarding enhancing your mobile experience. AMP, as the guide suggested today, and a digital concierge for answering those frequent questions directly on the search engine results. Please reach out to us directly, sales@milestoneinternet.com, or your account manager for more information. So the first question we've received today, you said search is evolving from keywords to what? Brian, was that your section?
Yeah, it was. So search has pretty much evolved from keywords to answers, and the large reason as to why is because of those voice activated searches. Most of them are queries, so people are not looking just for links; they're actually looking for actionable items or answers to their questions directly.
Perfect. Okay, and then what exactly is schema, and can I add this to my site, or is it a software? Help.
So schema is structured data for information on your website. As Kyle and I have both stated, it tells a search engine exactly what that information is. So you can tag your address or phone number, and whether or not it's software, it's not. So if you are a current Milestone client, it's actually built into the Galaxy CMS itself.
Oh, perfect. We have another question. Will Google award me a better position with an AMP site?
Yeah, so I'll take this one. That's a really good question. So AMP websites are only for mobile platforms, so it won't have an impact on your desktop ranking, but you will be available, you will be awarded for having an AMP-compatible website, not only because it's Google's platform, but because the page, like I mentioned, page speed is extremely important when determining the position in the search engine results page. So when you go from 5 or 6 second page load time to less than a second page load time, that adds into the equation, and you will rank better with an AMP website.
Nice. And then something along those lines, I'm not sure if the data is quite out yet, but how long does it take to see results with AMP?
Well, once you do have an AMP website created or an AMP-compatible web page created, it does have to get indexed by Google search engines. And we typically allow a month to 3 months to make sure that these things are getting indexed by Google. So it may take that amount of time to see results with an AMP website.
And so there's another question, is AMP built into the Galaxy CMS? No, it's not. It's actually a new feature for Milestone.
Okay, and then staying along those questions, I'm a Milestone client. How do I get AMP pages on my site? It's a new feature. Reach out to sales, reach out to your account manager today, and they'll set you up. And then likely Ryan or Kyle will be working on those pages for you all. Perfect. All right. If you don't have any questions, or if you do have any questions, send them our way, sales@milestoneinternet.com, and we'll be glad to answer those on the blog with our recap video. Thank you again so much for spending your time with us today.